Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing my March bullet journal setup, and I'm so excited for this theme. This month I went with houseplants as my theme. I have so many houseplants and they just make me so happy. They make the space feel so cheerful, and so I knew for a while that I wanted to use them as my inspiration for my March setup. This month is also the 1-year anniversary that I've been posting my Plan With Me setups on YouTube, so I'm so excited that I've made it this far for a whole year, and I have so many more ideas, so I'm really excited to be sharing that with you guys. And I'm also so grateful to all of you who have been following me for a long time or a short time. I'm so grateful that you guys support my videos, and I really hope you enjoy. Throughout this video, I'll also be sharing with you the actual houseplants I have that inspired this theme, so stay tuned and let's get right to it.
Before we get started, I am so excited to tell you guys that I've teamed up with Ohuhu, and in honor of International Women's Day this month on March 8th, we're going to be doing a really exciting giveaway, so stay tuned till the end of this video where I'll be sharing the details for that.
So I'm setting up my cover page here. As you guys may know if you've watched some of my videos before, I often do the cover page last, which is the case here as well. So actually I did this page at the very end. I've already set up the rest of the monthly theme. And the reason I do that is because I find it's a good way that I can practice all the different doodles and I can kind of see what elements I like and what didn't really work in the weekly spreads. And then I can kind of pick out the best parts, and I've kind of practiced already on the weekly spreads before I do the most important cover page. So yeah, these were all my favorite plants and different elements that I did throughout the setup that you're going to see later as well. But I wanted to kind of keep it minimalist for this month, and I know it's not really a true minimalism spread. There's still like a lot going on and a lot of doodles, but I kept it more simple than I often do, and I kind of kept more white spaces than normal, and I really like that. I think it just gives like a more calming and soothing vibe, I think, to the theme, and that's sort of what I was going for. So yeah, I just doodled a few of my favorite plants on this cover page, kind of sitting on a windowsill, and yeah, I thought that was quite fun here. Opposite to the cover page, you guys may know I often do a quote page, and I was gonna do that here for this month, but I decided to stick with the sort of minimalist theme I had going on, and I kept it super simple with just these 3 little like succulent doodles. I'm using a bunch of different stationery, and throughout this setup you'll see it, but I have my zebra midliner here. I also have my trusty Crayola super tips. As you guys know, these are one of my go-tos, and I just use this to sort of build up the color so that I don't just have a solid green. You can see I have a few different shades of green here, and I think this helps make it look a little bit more realistic and a little bit less like two-dimensional. I also love this sort of like terracotta color I had, sort of this like warm rusty brown. And then I'm using a lot of these kind of neutral beige tones as well, and I think this helps tie it in with like the minimalism, kind of earthy, natural tones throughout the whole setup. Some of these doodles look kind of complicated or like quite involved, but actually they were all really simple to draw. I went on Pinterest and I went online and I kind of searched up some different plant doodles and modified the ones that I liked to suit the style that I had in mind for this month's setup. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like to see a dedicated tutorial, like some short videos to show you how I drew some of these plants, because they're really simple, and once you kind of get the hang of like the leaf shapes, you can replicate it in a lot of different pots and different places. So yeah, it's actually really a lot more simple than it seemed. And once I had set up all the weekly spreads, I had gotten quite a bit of practice at drawing them, which is another reason why I leave the title page till the end. I felt like I was pretty experienced at this point in drawing all these different kind of plants and leaves. Finally, I'm using this Ohuhu alcohol marker in this mignonette, really pale green color to just tint the windows a little bit. It is an alcohol marker, so they do bleed through the paper normally, but because this is such a light color, I was able to get away with it in this case. Onto the goals page now. We're keeping it really simple, and I'm using the same calligraphy font you saw on the cover page. I was originally going to color in that line, but I decided to leave it empty and give a kind of hollow shadow effect because I think it matches my minimalism theme a little bit better. And I also haven't done a font like that in a long time in my journal, so yeah, just kind of in the mood for it. This kind of like snake sort of like drapey plant is inspired by one of my fake plants. Actually, I bought this one from IKEA ages ago, and yeah, obviously very low maintenance because I never need to water it, and even though it's fake, I still think it looks really cute, and I just have it sitting on like the edge of a counter, and it kind of hangs over the edge just like how I've drawn in this doodle. Adjacent to the goals page, I'm going to do a simple calendar layout. I decided not to do a mood tracker this month. It could have looked super cute with like plant doodles, but I just didn't feel like it this month, so I'm leaving it out. I don't often do a calendar layout, but I was kind of in the mood for that this month, and I have a lot going on in March, so I do feel like a calendar will be helpful so I can see the whole month at a glance and kind of visualize like the different things. I have so many things going on this month. I find the calendar can be helpful for like writing down kind of key events, and when I write them in the weekly spread, sometimes I forget or I kind of like gloss over it, but this is helpful to get to see the whole month at a glance. I'm adding this, like, I don't even know what to call. What are these plants called? Like the very thick kind of tropical foliage looking house plants, and you see them all the time in like really hipster and like really cute cafes. Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I think it looks really cute and matches my theme perfectly. So I added it in the corner, and I added 2 tones of green to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional, but this is the goals and calendar page. On to the next spread now. On the left side, I'm going to be creating a habit tracker. I'm using that same calligraphy font. You'll be seeing me use this all throughout the rest of the setup. And I just add a line on every downstroke. You just add another line adjacent to your first line, and that gives this sort of like hollow shadow effect. I'm writing out all the numbers, which is so tedious. I hate doing or like setting up this style of habit tracker, but I love looking at it. I think it's my favorite to actually see and use. I just don't like setting it up, but I did it here. And then on the left, I'm adding this like sort of series of hanging baskets. I thought this was just so cute and kind of reminded me of like Pinterest looking room decor, like the kind of room decor that in my mind I would love to achieve in my bedroom, but then I never actually do because, I don't know, it's a lot of work, I guess, and I've never actually gotten any hanging baskets. Another annoying thing about hanging baskets, I feel like, is you need a good hook, and then like when I rent a bedroom or something somewhere in a house, like I never really want to like install or drill a hook into the ceiling. That seems like a lot of work, so I've never actually had any hanging basket plants, even though I think they look so cute. So I'm adding them into my journal as a compromise, I guess. I've never actually owned one, but here they are in my journal. I went pretty vibrant here on the greens, but personally I actually like that sort of like earthier green tone. I think it looks a little bit less cartoony, but yeah, I really like how this page is turning out, and I think by leaving a lot of white space, it does lean a little bit more towards the minimalist effect that I was going for. Now onto the very first weekly spread. The first week of March is only 2 days, so I'm just doing a one-pager for the first week. I'm doing this like hanging board. I think it's so cute by drawing like the knotted rope and the hanging board in the top. I'm doing a few little plant doodles. We've seen these already at this point, and then I'm adding 2 days in the middle and just coloring that in. Once I've colored all of this in, that's pretty much it for this page. You can see my setup here. I had like a little snack and some water. That was actually some sparkling water. I got really into sparkling water the past couple years. I used to not like it, actually. Even as a young adult, I still didn't like it. I guess it's one of those like acquired tastes, but even as a young adult, I didn't like sparkling water. But in the last couple years, I lived abroad for a while, and I kind of acquired a taste for sparkling water. My roommate had a soda stream, and so I would use it a lot, and you can mix it with like some juice or some like syrups, or even just like put some lime or cucumber in it, and it tastes so fancy and so nice for so little effort. So I got really into it, and then when I left and came back, I actually went on Facebook Marketplace and bought myself a soda stream. So now I have sparkling water pretty often, and it's like a luxury you didn't know you needed until you have it. Now that I have it, I can't let it go. This spread is so fun. I've incorporated like a little ledger shelf on the left and this kind of like window with the hooks on the right. I've also incorporated a snake plant that you can see on the top there that is also directly inspired by one of the plants I own. The snake plant was given to me as a housewarming gift recently and lives in my kitchen, and it's an ideal houseplant or like a housewarming gift because it requires very little attention. So I'm coloring it in right now, but the snake plant requires like very little watering, even like once every 2 weeks is enough, and doesn't require a ton of sunlight either. So yeah, it's pretty hard to mess it up, and if you're looking for a low maintenance plant or a low maintenance house gift, from what I've seen and from what I've been told, snake plant is a good way to go. On to the next full weekly spread now. I wanted to bring back a layout that I've done. I think I did it in December and maybe October or something as well. And I think this layout works perfectly for doodles. Like if you have a kind of doodly sort of theme like I do this month. And it's just this like big block of doodles in the middle basically. And I just repeated doodles that you've already seen. So I have different kind of plants, different kind of pots. And I also sprinkled in some leaves throughout just to kind of fill in some of the blank spaces. But you just fill it with doodles, and you notice the orientation is not all vertical, so they're kind of like falling through space or something like that. You just draw all sorts of doodles, color it all in, and then you choose a color for the background, and you'll see that I've gone with a sort of beige color, and it creates like a very kind of striking or strong effect in the middle, and then you just keep it really simple with the days around it. And I kind of like mixing this in my spreads. I went with this sort of tan color, but actually, I kind of regretted it. I think I should have gone with something a bit more bold, like maybe that terracotta color would have been really beautiful here. But anyways, then I used this sort of like earthy gray-green tone for the days of the week, and that's about it for this spread. For the very last the full weekly spread of March, I'm doing a new kind of weekly layout that I haven't tried before, but I saw something similar on Pinterest. The one I saw was a little bit different, and I kind of adapted this one to fit what I like a little bit better. But I'm drawing 4 blocks on each side, and then I'm going to draw the plant doodles that I've drawn before kind of in between each of the boxes. One of my friends, like, she saw me setting this up and she came over recently and she was so encouraging, and she said how much she liked my videos and my channel, which meant so much to me. Sometimes I don't know if people watch my videos or really like them, but it was so meaningful when she said how much she liked my videos. But she made a really interesting comment saying that like she admired how like you can't be a perfectionist with bullet journaling, which I think is so true, and I hadn't thought about this before. But she was saying how like she didn't think she could do something like this because would feel like too much of a perfectionist. And I think she's totally right, because especially with bullet journaling, like you can't plan it out perfectly, and with something like art, like you're just not gonna like every page as much as the previous. And on this spread, for example, I really like the page on the right, but I really don't like what I've done on the left side, especially that leaf. I actually colored it in after filming this video because it bothered me so much, the really pale green leaf. And I think my friend was totally right. You just have to kind of go with the flow, and you're not going to absolutely love every single page to perfection, and that's okay, because it's just a reflection of kind of where you were artistically at that point. I'm on to the very last spread of March now, and the last week is only one day, only a Sunday, and I hadn't done another window pane since I think the cover page really, and I wanted to do a bit more of this window element throughout the setup, but I kind of forgot. So I wanted to bring it back on this last page, on my last chance to do that. So I've drawn a window pane really similar to the cover page with a few just small plants along the window, and then this will be the spread for just the one day at the end of the month. One thing I would love to incorporate into my bullet journal, and every time I see it on on Pinterest or other channels, I always think to myself like, oh, I love that, I want to do that, and then I always forget to incorporate it. But like when I do these weekly spreads, I usually just make room for each day of the week and that's it, but I would love to have a block for kind of like different areas of my life. Like if I was a student, I would have some space for like my homework or my class schedule, for example. But I'm not a student, so I wouldn't have that for myself. But I think it would be cool to have like a separate space where I could maybe plan out like meal planning or like workout planning for that week. That's something I want to consider. So if you guys have any suggestions for like boxes or like areas to add to the weekly spreads, please leave them in the comments because I would really like to incorporate some new elements in my next setup.
This month, in honor of International Women's Day, which is on March 8th, I am so happy to team up with Ohuhu and host a really exciting giveaway on this channel. I'm going to be choosing 2 winners who will each receive a set of the Ohuhu Maui 60 color marker set. There's just a few simple steps to enter, which I've posted in the description box below. This giveaway is going to close at midnight on March 15th, so make sure to enter by then, and I'll be announcing the winners shortly after. Good luck, everyone. Thank you so much for supporting me and my channel, and thank you to Ohuhu for sponsoring this giveaway.
And this is the final flip through. I'm so happy with how this month's theme turned out. I haven't been this happy with a setup in a while, so yeah, I'm so pleased with how like minimal and simple yet beautiful it turned out. I do still have this one empty spread that I didn't set up yet, so let's see what I come up with this month for it. But yeah, let me know in the comments which spread was your favorite. And that is all for this month. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed watching me set this one up. I'm so excited to use my journal this month. So if you enjoyed watching me set this one up, please do hit the like button below. Make sure to subscribe as well if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next month. Bye, friends.